Okay, so my peoples at Entertainment Squad hit me with this new indie joint. Okay, so it is called Rub. I wondered why, but I feel that point gets clear probably about 20 minutes in. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit earlier. It is written and directed by Christopher Fox, who also produces. It's executive produced by Antonine Allen and Charlie Comparetto. Remy Litvin line produces. Nick Bohan handled the music. Bobby Sansevero cinematography. Hair and makeup, we have Amanda Durant and Cassidy McGregor. Joseph Watson is on sound. Um, our cast, well, people, we have got Micah Spayer as Neal, Jennifer Figuereo as Perla. We got Wesley Barrington Artope as West. Trevor is played by PJ Landers. Right, the hotel clerk is played by Anthony Zenhauser. Alex Anderson is Steve. Ina Yezelskaya is Olga. Mib is played by Chris Kamaja. Right. Neil's boss is played by Mood Sabra. Tiffany is played by Nicole Ruttig-Linia. Samantha is played by Tara Nicole. Nuna is played by Andre M. Harris. Detective Bryant is played by Stephen Strickland. And Detective Miller is played by Rob Figuerea. Doug is played by Michael Mazzilio. Olivia is played by Olivia Larson. Ashley is played by Carol Bash. Right. Sandy is played by Amelia Sassons. That's probably our main group. Okay, so the gist of the story. Okay, so Neal, an everyman who hates his life, his job, and his love life, which is going about as well as someone jumping out of a plane without a parachute, right? At the suggestion of co-worker, he goes to a massage parlor for something more personal than a shoulder rub. It's here where Neal meets Perla, a young woman who shows him the intimacy he's been craving for so long, right? Hence the title, Rub. You know what I mean? However, Neal's life comes crashing down when he saves Perla from a group of thugs. They suddenly find themselves outrunning the law in order to survive. In the process, the pair meet an eclectic group of characters and discover what it really means to love. All right. So yeah, that is the gist of the film, people. So this was definitely an interesting one, right? Definitely an interesting one. Um I think we look at a lot of different themes, right? A lot of different themes. And Fox had the following to say, right? The story of Bonnie and Clyde always intrigued me as a young boy, all the way to being an adult. The opposites attract love story of two youths on the run from the authorities, and family oppression is a classic movie trope. Romeo and Juliet, you know what I mean? Queen and Slim. But Rub is not just a story about opposites attract running from the law. It's a story about how two people from completely different sides of society spectrum can help each other more than they ever knew. I approached this story with a heavy heart to tackle the topic of male inadequacy, along with the underlying tone of human trafficking, which plagues the underbelly of our society. I wanted to tell a story that was gritty, genuine, and realistic, but with a sense of purpose that if one gets caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, it can have unalterable consequences to change one's life forever. Hmm. That is very true, right? Very true. And there's a thing, right? So the film definitely is dealing with, male loneliness, you know? Um, And I think Fox mentioned somewhere else that coming out of the pandemic, all of these kind of feelings and emotions seem to be very palpable. So that makes sense. We start off with Neal, giving us a voiceover. Basically, he's like, love is all around me, but I have no one, right? And he's on the computer, on a dating website, and yeah, it's tough. It can be tough. You can, feel ostracized, right? All these work colleagues seem to have Neil as the butt of their jokes, right? And that's not a good thing. But I think another thing that really kind of jumped out to me with this was, what are you actually looking for? You know? What are you actually looking for? Like when he's on the dating site, it's like we don't really get a sense of, this is because the girl that we see him clicking on, there's not a whole heap on a page, right? There's a short paragraph which doesn't really mention any likes or wants, you know doesn't mention that. It's just something like, I've been around the block, but I haven't found my person. I know you're out there. It's just something generic like that, but it's not, these are the type of movies I like. I like to read. I like to go for walks. I'm a cinema fan. Nothing like that. So you think, what are you looking for, Neil? Because he's trying to run through a date in his head and, lines he's going to drop. And the way he's talking as if this is the one. So, a big thing that did really seem to be there was, yeah, what are you looking for? And, are we doing things just because, right? Just because of the fear of being alone, right? The fear of being left out, right? Having nothing to talk about at the water cooler, essentially. If everyone's talking about, oh yeah, me and my partner, me and my girl, me and my dude, we did this weekend. Oh yeah, we're planning this holiday. Oh, we're getting married. We're all of this going on, and you have nothing to say. So what? Yeah, what do you do? Right? How badly do you want something to say? You know? Because if you are looking for the right person, there's no time limit on that. So you're not rushing it, right? It's just taking things as they come. And it might be quick, it might take a long time, right? Or do you just want something now? You know, I mean, they're big questions that seem to be there. And especially when we look at the actions of Neal and Perla, you do like scratch your head a little. You do kind of go, okay, now what are the motivations here? You know what I mean? So yeah, we see him go, and I think there's definitely a lot of rage in Neal, right? We see it when he's getting mocked at work, and it's like there's simple outs, right? He's getting teased about something, and there's no actual proof. It's just hearsay. So instead of just being like, yeah, nice one, I was actually doing this, or I was, you know what I mean? He goes into a rage, and it's just like, yo, Neal, chill, son. You know what I mean? Just chill, right? We don't really get a kind of handle on how old Neal is. It's like he did mention that he lost his virginity at 17. But I think also in that story, we do get a sense of who he is, because he's just, yeah, he mentioned something that happened, and you're like, wait, you're 17 though, son. Why? How did you get that reaction from what you saw? That's kind of crazy, you know? So it speaks to someone who is very isolated, you know, very isolated, a late bloomer, late developer, right? So someone that is immature when it comes to these sorts of emotions, which again, apparent, very apparent. But the loneliness, right? The shame, all of these things are definitely there. You definitely feel those, from the way he's interacting. He's playing video games in his underwear, right? He's talking to himself in the mirror. It's kind of bleak in Neal's existence. It really is. Oh my days, man. It really is. But yeah, it's there. You feel it, you know? And you do feel that relief, right? When he visits the massage parlor. You feel that relief when he's there with Perla. But again, also, there is that this way. He tries to do something at the beginning of that visit. And I feel that tells you a lot, right? That tells you a lot about Neal. So, when all of this starts to go down and unravel, it's definitely interesting watching what happens, right? Seeing how this connection grows, right? What their next steps are, all of that kind of jazz, right? It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I do think it gets a little squirrely at dinner, right? From that point on, things definitely go off the rails a little bit. Well, they go off the rails for everyone involved. I think story wise, it becomes a little looser, right? It just doesn't seem as tight. Or, yes, this all makes sense. Now, you can definitely get the actions, but I think there's a lot of other stuff going down, right? There's a lot of other stuff going down, which is like, okay, right? You're asking a few more questions about, okay, but how is this? Okay, and how do we get to that? Right? I think that starts to happen a little bit more at the end, but Yeah. I think it's definitely one of those. It's an ending that, although I feel it could have been a little bit more, right? Just on the emotions and just all of that kind of thing. But it's an ending that I feel made sense for the film, right? That for everything that's gone down and what we've seen these characters do, the ending makes sense. So yeah, there you go, people. Rub will be dropping on the 1st of August, right? So that's Tuesday, people. Tuesday. Um, Wherever you get your videos on demand, wherever you get those, that's where you'll find this. Okay. So yeah, there you go, people. We get yeah, it's an interesting story. The music definitely helps with the mood. In not the mood, but like the tension, right? It's utilized like that. We get some good performances, like on the emotional front, you know. So they do say, right? And I like this, um, because a lot of times you have to think, you're trying to think of what is this kind of, the reference points, right? So they reckon True Romance, Requiem for a Dream, and he was a quiet man. Those are the film references that they're saying. So if you like those films, you'll possibly like this one. There's definitely some parallels to Queen and Slim, you know? But yeah, people, Rub, 1st of August. And I mean, the questions you need to ask, yeah, what are you looking for in life, right? What are you prepared to put in there? And are you emotionally ready, right? They're the questions you need to ask. The questions Neal should have been asking. You can find out on the 1st with Rob.